Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio, so today we've got a new gym promo pack, which looks very nice indeed. We got a new stadium, which looks very, very interesting. We got ourselves a new Pokémon V, which looks very, very interesting. And then we got a bunch of cards which I think are reprinted from the set, though I'm not yet 100% sure. So let's start off having a look at Quagsire V. I should also tell you, I translated these cards, legitimately by myself. I obviously then immediately went to the lovely Antoine Boulet and checked, because, I'm not that silly right now. I'm not going to rely on my own translations yet, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not quite there. But delighted to say I actually did these translations myself, and yes, I am pretty gosh darn proud of myself. So what we've got here, we've got Quagsire V, 220 HP, which is about as high as we tend to see. And we've got an ability, prevent all effective attacks from your opponent's Pokemon done to this Pokemon. And look, we've seen this ruling like a billion times in the past. We know the ruling at this stage. No, damage is not an effect. So you'll prevent all other effects, but unfortunately you won't be preventing damage. Again, that honestly should be pretty obvious at this stage. We've seen this many times before. The thing is, it does actually prevent a lot of cool stuff. Special conditions are going to be prevented. Energy removal is going to be prevented. And, of course, damage counters are going to be prevented. And it doesn't say while this Pokemon is in the active or any of that. Now, obviously, at the moment, the big thing we're looking at in terms of damage counters is Sableye. Sableye is what we tend to see. So, Sableye's got that amazing attack that will drop damage, 12 damage counters if you've got 10 cards in the lost zone. And actually, this is a pretty good Sableye counter. Now, I say it's a pretty good Sableye counter. There's all kinds of problems with using it as a Sableye counter. Firstly, it's pretty comfortably 2-hit KO'd by Cramorant that the deck will also be playing. Secondly, it's pretty comfortably 1-hit KO'd by Charizard, which the deck will very much be playing. And also, the ability is turned off, meaning you can drop damage counters on if a Path to the Peak goes down. And everybody's playing Path to the Peak. Oh no, that's a lie. But Tordirectal have just won Peoria Regionals with a Lost Box deck playing Path to the Peak. So my point here, ladies and gentlemen, is that although this is potentially a very nice attacker that you can rely on in some matchups, it's not perfect. I do think that's fair to say. But against a deck that's relying on special conditions, this is brilliant. Against a deck that is trying to remove your energy with Pokemon's attacks, this is brilliant. Against decks that are relying on dropping damage counters, this is pretty gosh darn good. And yeah, it can be turned off with Path to the Peak, and yeah, it can be countered by other stuff, blah, blah, blah. Also shares a weakness with Palkia, and everyone's going after Palkia right now. So, I'm not saying it's perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I absolutely am saying that in Palkia decks, you've got Energy Acceleration with Star Portal, and you've got Energy Acceleration with Kyurem, and this is a basic Pokemon. So yes, this is a pretty easy card to be teching into Palkia decks, especially Palkia Kyurem decks, and then you've got immunity against a bunch of decks that may be looking to thwart you in some way. This is a sneaky good card. I'm not saying it's amazing, and I'm not saying it's going to see a ridiculous amount of play, but I absolutely am saying that this is a very interesting card, and it is one that I certainly think you should be keeping a little bit of an eye on, because I know I absolutely am. Oh yeah, there's an attack here as well. 2 water, 1 colorless energy, 100 damage. If this Pokemon has any fighting energy attached, it does 120 more damage. And look, the deal with this is super simple. Play a fighting energy, KO Pokemon V. Simple as that. 220 is the magic number. 220 is the number to KO Pokemon V. Now, against V-Star, it's a little bit sad. Even with a choice belt, you'll be hitting 250. 280 is a magic number there, which is a little bit sad. And sure, you can have Radiant Hall Lucha to be hitting 280 against Pokemon V Max, but Pokemon V Max, you're looking at 320 or 340. So you're not hitting the numbers on the evolved Pokemon V, sorry. But against regular Pokemon V, This is free energy 220. And I've already told you, with stuff like Kyurem, stuff like Palkia, we could also mention Melanie here if you like. There are ways to accelerate the energy pretty easily. And I like this. Generally speaking, the Pokemon V that we see in these promo packs, they're not terribly good. This is the best one that I've seen in a while. This is the best promo pack Pokemon V that I've seen in a while over in Japan. I'm not saying it's a stunning, amazing card that's going to break the metagame. I absolutely am telling you it is a card worth playing and playing around with, because no special conditions, no energy removal from Pokemon, no damage counters, and your one-hit KOing Pokemon V. That's pretty gosh darn interesting. Now, there is a new stadium here, and this makes me really sad, because it's not a Kato stadium. Why isn't Kato doing the stadiums? I will say the artwork is actually pretty stunning on this. I love it. But no. No. As a side note, the lovely Antoine Boulet has translated it as Peaceful Park. Apparently very close to translating it as Touch Grass Park, which is a way better name, and I hope Pokemon steal. That would be amazing. So, what we've got here is a stadium card. Pokemon in play can't be confused. If a Pokemon in play is already confused, remove that special condition. It's an anti-confusion stadium, which makes the name Touchgrass Park particularly delightful. And I suppose the deal with this is really simple. How worried are you about confusion? I mean, there's a really fun combo here with Yellhorn, where you play this, and then you play Yellhorn, and it does nothing, because neither active player can be confused, and that amuses me greatly. It's nice for emptying out your hand, I suppose. But the point is, you know, if you know you're going to be playing against a deck that relies on confusion, this is great. Nobody likes confusion. Nobody likes being affected by confusion, because you got to flip a coin to attack, and if you flip tails, you take 30 damage, and then that's really not ideal. The problem here is it's so situational, and there just aren't many confusion decks around right now. There just aren't a lot of decks that are seeking to rely on confusion. And the problem is, you can be playing stadiums like the aforementioned Path to the Peak, which is going to help you in a whole bunch of matchups. And then I just end up in a situation of, okay, cool. But it's not really good enough, is it? Like, if we're totally honest here, it's not really good enough. So, yeah, sorry, ladies and gentlemen. If we ever end up in a format where confusion is, like, proper job relevant, and this hasn't rotated out, this is a really good stadium. It's a weird one to look at, because it does what it does, and it's really good at what it does. If you want a way around confusion, this is a great way around confusion. The problem is, right now, we don't really need a way around confusion. So it's one of those really awkward cards where it does something specific and it does it really well, but nobody wants to do what it does. It does something really well, but nobody cares about what it does. And that is a weird kind of card, ladies and gentlemen, but that is essentially where we find ourselves. Now, there's one other card which is quote-unquote new here, although I rather suspect it's going to be in the set, but we've not seen it before, so let's treat it as new for now. We've got ourselves a new Aerodactyl. Of course, Fossil being a bit of a theme running through this particular new set. And what we've got from this Aerodactyl is, for 1 colourless energy, deal 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. And for 2 colourless energy, 120, discard an energy from this Pokemon. I'm alright, mate, honestly. I'm fine. You see, we could look at some other cards that we've seen in this set already. Omastar's got the attack that will let you just play this to the bench. And we've got Lugia, which has got the V-Star power, which will just let you play this to the bench. Fossil for Omastar, colourless for Lugia. But it's just not a good card. I'm sorry. It's just not. Maybe use Twin Energy, but even then you're dealing 120 and you're never hitting for weakness because you're colourless, and then you've got to discard the Twin Energy. So even there, I'm just not a fan of this. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's a cool card, but cool artwork. I don't think it's a good card, and I'm sorry about that. So, yeah, that's what we've got, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we've got. The other cards, we've not actually seen these Pokemon yet, I'm fairly sure, but I believe they are alternate arts. They generally tend to be alternate arts of cards in the set. So maybe they are exclusive to this particular promo pack. They might be. We don't actually know one way or the other as it stands at the moment. So, who wants to see me challenge myself to try and translate these in real time while I'm recording the video? Because I've not actually done so yet. So, we've got ourselves a Ponyta, which 2 energy, 50 damage, and I want to say that does 10 to itself. Does at least have 70 HP, which is quite nice. We've got ourselves a Duosion, because, you know, why not? And then we've got 2 energy, 20 damage, and you choose one of your opponent's Pokemon, and I want to say you place 2 damage counters on it. So I think it's 20 to the active and 2 to one of your opponent, 2 damage counters to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. And we got a Panjam, which just does 2 energy, 30 damage. That one's nice and easy. And then we've got a Galarian Meowth. Again, 70 HP is nice. And we got 10 damage, flip a coin. If heads, 20 more damage. There we go. I'm not convinced about that Duosion translation, I'll be honest. I might have to correct that before I pop the video up. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about all of these. I genuinely quite like the Quagsire, way more than I thought I would, and the stadium's interesting, but we're in the wrong meta. But now, ladies and gentlemen, it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about these, tell me what you're excited about, go nuts in the comment section, but be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk Pokemon and card games and Pokemon card games, all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, where I answer all of your questions, join a Discord where we chat Pokemon and it's fun. And I give shout-outs on the channel, like to the lovely Star of Dav, who's been a supporter for a while and is a very lovely person. So thank you for the support, and thank you for being a lovely person. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.